Hi, welcome to Art at Home with Allie. In this lesson, we're going to explore what can you do with a shape. Shapes are all around us, and I'm going to show you some fun ways you can use shapes that you find around your house and in nature, and how you can use that type of thinking to learn how to draw using shapes and your imagination. So we're going to start off with a fun shape warm-up. And when I say warm-up, I mean we're going to use our imaginations and get them started. You might do a warm-up before doing dance or a sport, or even before playing music. You might warm up your voice or your instrument. This is our imagination warm-up. And what you're going to need to do first is find different things around your house that are different shapes. Like you can see here, I have an envelope. Feel free to name the shape. I bet you are all really good at knowing your shapes by now. So we can see we have some rectangles. I have lots of circular shapes. This is from one of those to-go coffee cups. This is from another coffee container, a sponge, a pencil, a toy banana, necklace. I've got a lot of things here. Some different lids from juices, spices, milks. Anybody a fan of Kinder Joys? I've got the egg shape, and I've got these earrings of mine, which I thought would work well. I don't know if you can see them there. They're kind of, how would you describe that shape? Did anybody say teardrop or raindrop or a pinched oval? That's how I would describe them. Those will work well. A roll of tape. Ooh, maybe you'll find some shapes that aren't exact geometric shapes. Like this is the piece that goes with the Kinder Joy. A block, a piece of cardboard, and another cap. So now the fun part is I need to decide and imagine what I can make with these loose parts. Let's give it a try. All right, here's the fun part. You take the items you've collected and see what you can imagine those shapes to become. What could this rectangle be? I have an idea right away, but there are so many different possibilities. So I'm going to set that out, and then I'm going to add another part to it. I'm going to take the Very Hungry Caterpillar card game box and set that there. And then I think I'm going to use these coffee lids for part of my idea. Maybe some of you have already guessed what I'm making. I was thinking of some type of truck or vehicle, and if you're somebody that knows a lot about vehicles, you probably have some even better ideas of what I could do. I'm not sure if I have the wheels in the right place exactly, but if you really like what you've made, take a picture of it. Or, I could even add more decoration or design on the envelope if I wanted to, or maybe I could use the necklace to make a road. So this is just a fun way to imagine without using any type of art materials. We're just using what we have around the house. Let's try another one. I'm curious what I can do with this toy banana. So this shape, it's kind of like an ovalish shape, or maybe some of you are thinking it's almost the start of a crescent shape. It would need to be a little bit more curved. This could make, Siki could make a great mouth, or maybe it could make a good body. Let's see here. That could be the head. Maybe I'll put this inside of there. There's the head and the body. and it needs some little legs. I could use these earrings as legs, right? Maybe it's some weird dog. There are the eyes. Oh, the earrings probably would have worked well to make the ears of the dog, but that's okay. Maybe there's one ear. No, this would be better. That looks like it's like nose and mouth kind of, doesn't it? So maybe I'll take the earrings and go like this. And I don't really have legs for the dog, so I need to be creative here and look at what I have. I could just use those. Maybe it's a little toy dog and those are little wheels that it runs on. So this is just a fun way to see how we can use different shapes or pieces to build an image, because that's basically what you're going to be doing in the next part. By drawing, you're going to be drawing different shapes and using your imagination to see how you can build those shapes together to create a picture. I'm going to try one more loose part play here. Let's see. How about the Kinder Joy egg? I noticed there are no triangles in the objects that I found. So maybe I can kind of make a triangular shape with the necklace. Oh, that almost looks like an oval shape. There we go. So you have to really do some problem solving here. So there's my kind of triangle shape, and I've got an idea. We'll see if it works. A pencil. There's my boat, my banana boat. Or maybe, no, I think the banana worked better for the bottom of the boat. And maybe this is my little person on the boat. There's a little person. And they're waving their arms. Those are the earrings. And here's their head. And it doesn't have to be any more detailed than that. This is just something to get your mind thinking about how you can use shapes. So you go ahead and give it a try. Find some pieces around your house and see what you can create with them. Now you might want to consider adding some pieces from nature to your loose parts warm up. I've got some different stones here, some twigs, a dandelion and some leaves and some, well, this is a dried peanut and some dried beans, piece of wood. So I have a frozen pizza cardboard. I thought maybe that would make a great face. That's fun. And of course I can easily change the expression by changing the eyebrows or the mouth. Ooh, they look a little mad there. What if I bring back the plastic banana? Now they look mischievous. How about if I move the eyebrows that way and add the piece of wood? They look worried. I could always take the rocks away, add the bottle caps. Now they look a little sad. So it's really fun to use natural materials to do this kind of shape warm up with. Let me show you a little bit more about what I'm talking about. I could only use natural materials here to create with. So this looks like a potato, but it's actually a rock or stone that I found outside. And I grabbed it because I thought it had a really cool shape. It's like a jelly bean shape or kind of an oval, but I thought it would be a fun thing to create with. And maybe I'll make a head. Oh, I could make a little creature. I could put the leaves under the piece of wood as some ears. And I could have the body. Let me move this down. I could have the body this way, or I could even have the body this way. Look at how simply I could make like a little rabbit or cat. But I like it this way. I think I'm going to do it that way, and I'm going to give it some legs. I'm trying to find two pieces that are similar. That's what I'm doing here. They're kind of the same. And maybe I will give it a skateboard with this piece of wood. And two little rocks could be the wheels, right? And then it needs a face. I could use these dried beans for the eyes. The dandelion could be the nose. I get these to stay. This could be the little nose, and here's, it doesn't want to stay. There's a little mouth. Or maybe it needs a different nose. I could break off a little piece of stick and make a nose like that. So there's my little skateboarding person. I can also use this as inspiration to draw from. Let me show you. So I want to show you how you can use your loose parts play, whether it's with items from around the house or nature, as inspiration for drawing. I'm going to be talking more in depth about drawing in just a moment. So this is a great lead-in because we have shapes that we can actually look at. Like this stone, like I mentioned before, kind of is an oval-like shape. There's a circle and some triangles. And you might have noticed I did change the face. I gave it some little eyebrows, and I replaced the beans and nose, the stick for the nose, with some little rocks. So I'm going to start trying to draw what I see. I can use whatever colors I want as I go. It doesn't have to be the same as the item I'm looking at. I'm going to start with the circle. And I'm used to drawing circles. I try to use my whole arm, not just my wrist and fingers. And notice I'm tracing over the shape back and forth quite a few times. I'm used to doing this, and it took me a while to get used to that. I'm not worried about making it perfect. I'm okay with tracing shapes or tracing lines many times because I can always go back over it with the line I want. I'm going to put on the triangle shape for the ears, and you can make any changes you want because you're the artist. This is just using what you've arranged as inspiration. I can see the eyes, using them as kind of like oval shapes. And there's that line for the stick. What a strange little creature. So one thing that is fun about this is you come up with ideas that you probably wouldn't have thought of otherwise. And I'm going to do the rock now. And I'll speed this up so then you can see me work. Here's the drawing inspired from the nature parts. And as I went, I decided to give it kind of a scribbly texture because I decided it was going to be like a little nature monster. I added some feet, and actually, I think it needs like a little tail too. So you can definitely add things. You're the artist. You get to make the decisions. But just notice the shapes: triangles, circles, ovals, rectangles and different types of lines, curvy lines, straight lines. So you can use the loose parts just for fun. You can draw from them. And if you really get into it, you could even take your loose parts and glue them together. This is a little dog I made in a different tutorial with a pine cone, some barks, and a stick and some beans. There's just so many possibilities for using shapes and different parts. Now I want to share how to use shapes with drawing. So I'm going to be drawing on a dry erase board for the next part of the project, but I'd like you to use whatever materials you have at home that you enjoy creating with. As far as papers go, you could draw on the back of an old piece of homework or worksheet, notebook paper, drawing paper if you have it, or even paper that comes from a computer printer. I think envelopes are fun to draw on. Or you could use recycled items, like this is the cardboard from a frozen pizza. It's not too greasy, so I saved it. I thought it would be a great thing to make art with. Same with this paper that's inside the Reese's peanut butter package. Look at this nice rectangular shape. So I'm going to be doing a drawing lesson, but if you see these items and think, ooh, I would like to cut this up and create a semi-truck with this rectangle, or maybe I'm going to make a skyscraper and glue it onto another piece of paper, that's totally fine too. And then as far as what you draw with, it might just be a pencil. I mean, it could be markers. I just have a bowl of crayons here. Crayons are always a great place to start. Whatever you have that you want to draw with is totally fine. So let's get started. What can you do with a shape? The first thing we're going to do is start with a random shape and use our imaginations to turn it into something. So I'm just going to draw a random shape here. Oh, right away I see some things. What do you see when you look at this shape? Now, if you're doing this on a piece of paper, you can turn the paper to look at it from different angles. Here we're just going to use what we have. Did anybody see kind of like a tooth-like shape? Or maybe a bunny? Or a puddle? There's so many possibilities of what it could become. Oh, let's see here. I'll just go with bunny since it's springtime, right? Maybe give it some little teeth. So there, that's pretty simple. Actually, it looks like it's a sock puppet bunny. Maybe I could put a little arm coming out of it, like it's a sock puppet like that. So there's our first random shape. Let's do one more. I'll use more pointy shapes here. What could this be? I bet some of you have some really good ideas. I think, oh, it looks like this could be legs of an animal, or maybe it's like a really cool hairdo on a person. Oh, I better give them some ears. So it could be that, or maybe I'll just erase this part. I'll try something else. I see these either as teeth. Oh yeah. I was thinking it was like teeth on a little monster or something, but now it looks like a bird head. I'm not sure what's going on here. It could just be an imaginary creature, right? There's its beak. Maybe that, I'm not sure what those are. Other feathers. It doesn't have to be real, does it? This is what we are imagining. Kind of like some strange penguin/bird mixture. But the neat thing is there's no way I could have just come up with this out of my imagination. I needed to see the shapes to give me the idea. Now we're going to try it with a geometric shape, a named shape. So the first thing we're going to do is make kind of a shape bank so we know what shapes we can work with here. I can make a circle, an oval, square, rectangle. If it helps you to draw out all the different shapes on a piece of paper, or even pull up a picture of different shapes so you know what shapes you can work with, go ahead and do that. Or you might just have a good memory of them. Triangle. What's this shape called? Semicircle? Half circle? You're correct. How about this shape? Yep, it's a trapezoid. Maybe I'll do that kind of teardrop or raindrop shape. Of course, we have the heart shape. And we could do a star shape. So I can just draw a star because I'm used to making them. But if you want to know a trick on how to make a star, an easy way is to make a circle really lightly with a pencil and draw triangles around it. Kind of looks like a flower. And then erase the circle and you have your star. So I have all these shapes I can work with. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you some different ideas of what we can do with these shapes. Anytime you need to pause the video and give it a try in your own way, feel free to do that. But I'm going to just keep going and it'll be your choice at any time when you're going to start drawing. So first I'm thinking, what can I do with a semicircle? Oh, I see lots of possibilities right away. I bet you're thinking of some different things too. I mean, I could make a lamp with it. Kind of looks like a lampshade or a turtle shell. I'm going to do something simple and just make a little jellyfish. And maybe I'm going to use some other shapes. I'll use some heart shapes and a circle to make a bow in her hair. So there's one thing I could do with a semicircle. Let's try something else. This is what's fun about art. There's endless possibilities. And I'm going to switch to a different marker. That one is kind of drying out. Now we can see it better. So I think this looks like the top of a mushroom. And I'm going to add another shape to it now. I'm going to add it is kind of a square shape. And I'm going to add a rectangle for the little door. I'm thinking this is like a little house that a mouse built in the forest, or maybe it's a fairy home. I could add another rectangle, some dots there, and there's our little chimney. So you can combine shapes too from your imagination to create something with them. All right, let's try one more time, but let's turn the semicircle the other way. I always say drawing semicircles either like drawing a frown or a smile with a line on the top. Ooh. I bet you can tell what I'm drawing. A watermelon. And maybe it's a watermelon character. I like to give a lot of things I make faces. I just can't help myself. So I've just used, it's kind of like a stretched out trapezoid and some little rectangles for arms. Some lines for legs, which I can turn into rectangles. And there's the semicircle again for the feet. So there's my little watermelon person character. Now let's try a couple more shapes. And then I think that will be enough to get you thinking about how you can start with a shape and use your imagination to turn it into something. I'm going to start with a triangle. There's so many things we could do with a triangle, right? I could make a tree with a triangle. That'd be pretty simple. I could add some little lines for texture. So there's my triangle. I could take the idea of what we were doing earlier and make a ship, and then I could bring that half circle back. Or, oh, now I have a better idea. I'm going to erase that. This was going to be a ship, but now I see it looks like a cat face. So this is one of my favorite things about art. Sometimes you don't know what's going to happen until you start creating, and then one idea leads to another. And I'm not sure if it's a cat or a tiger or what this is, but it's kind of fun because that was first a ship. Now let's expand our thinking a little bit. Let's say you start with a shape and you come up with something from your imagination. What if you have an idea and you don't know how to make it? You can also think with a shape. So I could think of how I could make this animal's body by using a shape. What shape here might work well for the body? And I'm thinking an oval or a curved rectangle. So I could make an oval there. I could make some kind of curvy rectangles for the legs, and then add some sideways ovals on for the paws. Put some lines on there. And then I'm have to think about what type of line I'm going to use for the tail. Maybe a curvy line, like the letter S. Just make that thicker. And look at that. Now my sailboat is a cat. So what can I do with a trapezoid shape? This also looks like a lampshade, but I'm thinking of something else because I must have something on my mind that I've mentioned twice now. Can you guess what it is? So there's those trapezoids, and I'm going to use some long triangles and the semicircle. There, now I made a ship, and I'm not going to turn this one into a cat, but maybe it's a pirate cat ship. So I'll put the cat skull on there instead of a pirate skull. All right. I love thinking of how I can use shapes to make something. So I'm going to try it one more time, but this time I'm going to start with an idea and see what shape I can use to make that idea with. Maybe I am thinking of faraway places. That's why I keep drawing this ship, and now I'm thinking of a castle. And I think a lot of these shapes would be great to make a castle with. I know when I think the word castle, I think, wow, that's kind of overwhelming. I have no idea where to start. But I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to start with a square. And then I'm going to add some rectangles on. I'm thinking of the towers. So it can start really simple. That's how we learn how to draw. We start simple, and then the more practice we get and the older we get, the more challenging of things we can draw. What shape do you think would work well for the top of the tower? Yes, a triangle would work great. And if I want to make the top here, I'm going to use, I'm not sure what that's called, I don't know what that's called, that design. But that part of the castle, I'm going to use little squares. I kind of think part of an oval would work well for the door, like that. And I can add some details. And maybe I can use that shape over and over again, like for the windows. So this is purely from imagination. Now the other way you can do it too is if you want to draw something and you can't get a picture of what shapes it's made up of in your head, you can look at a picture of it and then try to pick the shapes out. That's a whole nother lesson, but that's just a small tip if you do try to do that. Maybe there is still another part of the castle over here. I'm looking at this trapezoid shape again and thinking it could be kind of interesting over here. What if I just add another piece? Pretty soon that's going to become part of the drawing. So see how I can just keep using my imagination and I can keep adding on to it? I'm not even thinking too deeply right now. I'm just kind of having fun adding some shapes on. I'm not sure what this is, but it's really fun to just give it a try. So I'm just using shapes here. Semicircles, rectangles, a triangle. Maybe there's another entrance right here. Maybe this leads to the place where somebody observes with a telescope. So I made that castle completely using shapes. And one last thing, just because it's spring, I just thought of how could I make a bird, a really simple bird using shapes? What do you think would be a good shape to start with? There's lots of different possibilities. I'm going to use a semicircle again for the body, and maybe a triangle for the tail feather. I might have to erase a little bit. I'm going to add a circle on for the head. So you can really easily build an animal or even a person or character by just using shapes. Make some kind of zigzaggy lines. I'm going to use a triangle for the beak, a circle for the eye, some lines there for the feathers. Now the bird could be flying with its legs kind of back. It could be standing. I'm going to make it standing. And here's the fun thing. Once you draw one thing that you like, not only can you draw it again, but you could do variations. Like maybe I'll make a little teeny bird here. Same shapes, the triangle, the semicircle, and the circle. And two little triangles because it's opening its beak up because the mama bird is dropping a worm in its mouth. So that would be a really simple way to draw a bird. And if that is too real for you and you want to get really imaginative, then go ahead and go as far out there as you want. Maybe I'm going to make a robot bird. There's its control panel. Rectangles. I'm going to add some lines in onto the rectangles. Some triangle shapes for its robotic wings. And I think it's going to have wheels. And here's its little baby bird mini robot. So you can see I have circles, rectangles, a square, kind of a semicircle. I'm thinking this is like a little nest. And maybe we just see the head of the robot bird. And this robot has like little arms like that can grab things instead of wings. So you go ahead and think about what you can do with this shape. I've showed you lots of different ideas, whether it's starting with a random shape and using your imagination, using a named geometric shape that you've studied already, or thinking of an idea and then thinking about what shapes would work for that idea. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Please take a picture of what you're creating, send it to your teacher, and then I will get to see it. Have fun.